Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to use a lace front wig. There are many different types, and usually sometimes they're called monofilament wigs, but it's the same thing. And what they're referring to is this mesh that you can see right here. So what happens is instead of having the hair on a track, which I'll show you there, if you can see the tracks, like if you were to get extensions, that's what they look like. So instead of having the tracks all over the place, what they do, and let me get it into the camera eye, if you can see there, where they have the individual hairs knotted. So they're threaded through the this mesh, which is also called monofilament, and then they're knotted and pulled through. So it's meant to look like hair follicles, like what you would naturally have. If you can kind of compare, they're very, very similar. So that's what you're trying to do. Why bother? Why have one? And there's so many different types, and depending on the hairstyle, this can be the best choice or perhaps not. I like them because I think that the hair looks more natural because they're knotted and pulled up. So they do like natural hair does, kind of like what mine's doing now, where it goes up and then over, depending on how fine your hair is. It'll have a little bit of body, but not a whole lot. The traditional way of doing a wig with the tracks, it tends to look really flat, which is very unnatural and gives you that wig look, because then your hair is kind of like it's pressed down and it's very fixed. And those wigs often look very fake. So if you're looking for something that's more natural, you're going to find that having the lace front or the monofilament will give you that look. And it's just because the way that they're made. The track is not laying down, the hairs are tied up, so they go and do that instead of just going flat out like Morticia. And then giving it body means that they just layer more hair, so then it looks like you have just massive amounts of hair, which is not natural. So obviously you want a little bit more body than what you already have. Like my hair is pretty fine. It's pretty flat, as you can see. For me to get body, I would have to really do a lot to it. I'd have to put mousse, and I'd have to pull it forward and blow dry it and tease it and just do a lot to it. So if I want to go out and have my hair already done and very fast, wigs make for a great way of doing that. Also, if you have really light hair, or if you have really dark, if you're on extremes and you like floating the extremes, wigs are great because then you don't have to change your hair completely. For me to go dark would take multiple stages, doing it right and not ending up with green hair. But doing it right, I would have to dye my hair in stages, and that's a bit of a process, especially if it's one of those things where sometimes you feel like a blonde and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you do want dark hair. So it's just a nicety, especially if you like to go clubbing and go out. Maybe you want something a little crazy, something with blue streaks or something fun. Wigs are perfect for that. So let me show you how this works. So for this type of wig, if you look at it, you will also notice that they have these combs here. If you're really worried about it falling out, let's say you are a cheerleader, or if you plan on going out and you're going to be dancing, or if you're going to be physically active with your hair and you're afraid it's going to fall out, these clips are here as an extra security. So what you can do is you can kind of put it to your head and feel with your fingers about where they lay. So I remembered feeling them here. And then what I could do is I could bring my hair back, and at those points I could, if I wanted to, take a little section of hair with one of those little mini tiny rubber bands and do a rubber band there, and then the other rubber band there, so that when I put the wig on, the combs will go into the rubber bands, and that way it's not going to go anywhere. It's faceted with my hair. I'm not that worried about it because I'm just going to be walking around and doing the usual thing. No gust of wind is going to take it off of my head. For it to come off, you'd have to be physically active, like I said. I don't think you would want to go for a run or play basketball or anything like that in a wig, but I know that if you're in a performing arts, or maybe you're an actress, that kind of physical activity is what I mean. So this is the cap. I prefer the thinnest you can find. Of course, you want it to match your skin color as best as you can because it's going to mimic you being bald, essentially. Think of it like a mannequin. You're not bald. You're going to look like a mannequin. So I like to put it on the front first, and don't worry about where it falls here. And I'm going to take my thumbs to go over my ears, untuck that back. And now that I'm back here, I'm going to just, with one hand, take my hair and twist it around and twist it so I have it in a bunch like that. I'm going to just tuck it like that. I like to leave it low like that because it gives the wig somewhat of a handle to when I put it under, so it stops, and you're not distributing that volume up here, which will make it look like a wig. Remember, we're mimicking baldness because we're going to add hair, so you don't want to have lots of volume within more volume, which gives you wig look. Okay, so you want to look like you're bald and then you're adding hair, which is the wig. So now we have the front kind of like this, so I'm going to pull it back. On a regular wig, you would leave it about here, but because this is the lace front, I'm actually going to bring it back past my hairline a little bit. Okay, so it's like that. Any strays, I'm just going to try to tuck in. But this is essentially how you want it to look. You just want to pull back any flyaways. Okay, so now you can see. That's how it is. Okay, so now you're in your mannequin stage. In case you are curious, this is the one that I'm using. I do not recommend that you buy your wigs online, and here's why. Unless you absolutely know without a doubt that that's the one because you've tried it on and you want to buy the same one again, just in another color, otherwise don't do it. They look very different on the mannequin head than they do on yours because everyone has a different shape to their jawline, to their cheeks, just everything. Everyone's different. So the mannequins, unfortunately, are the same type. So it's deceiving. It'll look great on the mannequin online and then look really bad on you just because your facial features don't match the haircut or the style of the wig. So I absolutely recommend that you support all of the local beauty shops. Go in, put a cap on, try them on, and then buy from them. So not knocking anyone who's online, but I've been duped many times before. So I'm just advising you, don't do it. Just stay local unless you absolutely know this is the brand, you already have it, you already own it, you already love it, and you want a different color, and maybe the local ladies or guys don't have it. Then maybe you could do it online. So now we're gonna pay attention to the bottom here. On the bottom of the wig, it has here these adjustment straps, if you can see, right there. You don't want it too tight because it can give you a headache. And I know that sounds silly, like, oh, a headache, but they can really suck if it's on way too tight. So I don't advise that you don't fasten them, but try the very, very lowest setting. So you'll see, like this, it's very relaxed, but as I pull it, it's tight. Okay, so that's how you want it, like that. So start with the closest, lowest one, and if you find that you want more support, then you can bring them in and just make a mental note in the future how many in you went. So I'm going to hold the wig like this, okay? And I'm going to just shake it a little bit. So I'm going to turn around, kind of like putting on a jacket, I guess. And then I'm going to, just like putting on the cap, I'm going to overshoot the front here and bring it down really far because I just want to place the back. So I'm pulling that back stretchy band, and I'm now right on top of the little low bun that I made. So I'm going to try to stretch it over it, tuck, tuck, bring it under. Oh, there we go. So now it's laying flush on the nape of my neck. My little bun is sitting right here. You probably can't see it. If you can't see it, that's a good sign. And it looks like a total mess right now, but remember, this is down really low. So you're going to feel for these little tabs that are meant to fit over your ears. So you're going to feel for the tabs, hold them with your thumbs, so they're here, and just make sure that you center. So now I'm going to pull in close so you can see. So I'm going to lift forward, and I'm just going to position it right about there. Okay, so that's about where my hairline naturally is, so you can see what it looks like. Okay, now I know what you're saying to yourself. This looks kind of funny. It's not going to stay. We're going to get rid of that. So for right now, just going to take a brush and tame this a little bit. And you know, you can futz with it later and fixing it. But for right now, I'm just going to tame it a little because sometimes it's hard to envision something if you don't kind of halfway fix it. So get it somewhat decent so you're not distracted by how terrible your hair is looking. Okay, so here we go. Okay, a little crazy still back here, a couple of knots, but anyway, remember it came out of a bag, so don't get too worried about the way that it looks. If you really don't like the style, the way the wig already comes, you can go to a hairdresser, make sure you let her know it's a wig, and then have her or him style it for you and fix it up. If you try to cut it yourself, there's a good chance you will mess it up. And unlike your own hair, it won't grow back. So you've just ruined a perfectly good wig. So be careful on the DIY. Okay. Now, another thing to keep in mind, if the hair color you've chosen on your wig is darker than your natural color, there is such a thing like this, where you can, color in and darken. You can also do an eye pencil, eye pencil, not a regular pencil, eye pencil, and darken or whatever. The same is true if you choose something lighter. These come in for blondes in all colors. You can get them at Sally's or any beauty supply, and just, like mascara for your lashes, you're changing the color. This will change the color of your brows. So just FYI, if you choose a blonde, don't be the blonde with the brown or the black eyebrows. That looks kind of crazy. Mine are on the blonde side, so I might darken them a little bit to match this. So here's what we're gonna do. These are brand new scissors. I know they look crappy because they're that generic plasticky, stupid looking thing, but these are brand new out of the package, so they're very sharp. That's what you want. Some sharp scissors when you're doing any cutting. Again, be careful when you're styling yourself. In this case, we're just gonna cut this band here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some of the hair back, maybe tuck it behind my ears. Should have brought a hair clip, but I didn't. Okay, so you can see here what we're going to do, well, what I'm going to do, you'll do later, is I'm going to cut this all around. You can cut it while it's on your head. I do find that that's difficult without cutting your own hair that's underneath. So I just like to take a mental note of where my hairline falls naturally. And what you're doing is you're trying to make this look real. So don't just cut like straight line all the way around. just notice, okay, mine kind of comes in a little and then comes back. So you're making mental notes so that when you cut, you want to cut, leaving as much of these like try and cut it right to there, just try and cut that and cut in where there isn't a follicle and out where there is one and in again, you know what I mean? Try to create as natural a line as you can when following it around, so you don't have like this where there's fabric just sitting out in the open. You want to make sure that you're letting the hair follicles be where they are with the fabric, but don't let the fabric just hang out by itself out in the open, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so I'm going to take mine off and cut it so that I'm not accidentally cutting my own hair in here, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've lost daylight. I had a lot of things to do while I was cutting that and phone calls and yada yada. So anyway, now that I've come around to showing it finished, it's late, so I no longer have the sunlight coming in through the window, so it's kind of dark, but that's okay. So I have it cut, and I will show you. It's not going to look like much right now, but once I put it on, you'll see. So if you can kind of tell that it's not a straight cut. So let's try it out. Putting my cap on as I showed you. Tucking my hair. Okay. Checking that everything is in place the way it should be. Holding it out and flipping it over. And the reveal. I'm just tucking in the back as I did before. Now I'm searching for the little side parts. It's like the sideburn patches, I guess is what they are. There we go. And then moving it up to where I want it. It's a little bit high. I think I want to lower it if I can get my nail under. Come on. There we go. Repositioned. Okay, now it's so dark in here. Brush out the craziness that's in this. Okay, so I'm going to show you what the hairline looks like, and you can use hairspray and fix it however you would fix your hair. So if you wanted to have clips, or if you wanted to tie some of it back or braid it or whatever, you can do that. Just keep in mind where the tracks are and what you're pulling and where it's showing. Okay, so I'll show you the hairline so that you can see. So there you have it, and that's what it looks like. If you can see, I mean, it looks like they're sprouting out of my head. So I'm going to play a little more with it. I may deciding whether I want to have it cut or not, or if I want to leave it the way it is. Right now it's very straight, but I don't know. It's something I'll decide on later. So anyway, so that's it. Tutorial's over. So I hope you enjoyed, and let your next wig be a lace front or a monofilament wig. So have a good night.